Bump my heart, come running down. Okay, if I bump you, no, you bump me, and you was to tell me, excuse me, I might not even be thinking that I bumped you. I realize I bumped you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I might say, oh, my dog bad. I had a bad night last night. I wasn't even tripping. As opposed to saying, nigga, you bumped me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Say apologize to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I teach them to change the fact, change the meaning. It helps, a person not to react negatively to things I like. I have to constantly do that guard in my mind.
Yeah.
Because I do have an attitude and it can explode. I have life senses I just did. So anything I do, I'm through.
Yeah.
I'll never come home.
Yeah, you never come home. So, young men, I'd like for you to, if you have anything that you want to say, you don't have to. But I'd just like to hear more about the experiences of the younger people in the room.
I've never been to jail,
Okay.
but I have a lot of friends that have been to jail, and I have a lot of friends that have died.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how does that make you feel? How do you react to that? I mean, can't you see something that's mightily wrong in our community?
That if we don't change, it's gonna keep happening.
Okay.
That we gonna
Change from what?
extinct our own selves.
Okay, so what do we need to change about ourselves?
We need to change the way how we think, how we act.
I think it also start too. We start with this generational. This generation. We have generations. So we figure,
Yeah.
you got a movie. You have a kid in the kitchen with the daddy or the uncle at the table cooking dope, either drinking, shooting up, having parties. The kids are running around watching their elders either having parties, drink, doing whatever, either beating up their mama or beating up whoever they watch. They're walking around watching. You gotta remember, I've been through it, you've been through it, you sat down in it, and that's generations of teaching and molding the kid without telling them, saying this is what you're gonna have, this is what you are, and so when they come back home out of jail, that's all they picture in their head is how it's gonna be. So when they come back home, they got their little daughter, their son in the kitchen with them because that's where they're comfortable at. That's when they think back to their childhood. When you get afraid, when you want to feel familiar, you always go back to what makes you comfortable and what makes you home. Sorry to say that. Watching my brother and them cook up dope. My brother and them is from the valley, so I used to watch them, Brandon and them do their thing in the Hayes Valley. Like, to me, that was like, I smile right now because it took me back to, that was what's comfortable to me. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So when you come back to what's comfortable to you, it's not like I was shooting pool, I was going to shoot swimming, I was a swim coach and I'm coming off and I had a bad experience. I'm coming back to what I used to do, what used to make me comfortable, watching somebody cook, watching somebody, you know what I mean? And so you never, until we change the psychological barrier at the home, generational curse, it's called generational curse. Multi-generational curse. It's never going to stop until we try to stop it there. Try, it's far, but try to start at that area because no matter what you do in jail, you can change the world in jail, but if you haven't changed the culture at your house with your kids or your peoples, you come back to a death issue like, you ain't been here my whole life, but that's because of what they're taught, that the daddy's in jail, he's never gonna come back, he's never gonna be this way. My daughter, like I said, I know my daughter's 19 with a baby. I had a baby when I was 18 years old. When I graduated from high school in 97, I had a daughter that was 1 year old. I was one of the ones who said that never happened to me. I'll never have a kid before I got old enough. My daughter, I told her, I said, look, I didn't want this for you. I didn't want you to just fall in the stigma of living in the project, having a baby daddy who wasn't going to be in her life or in jail. Her baby daddy, not in her life, is in jail, is probably in jail for the next 9 years. So my grandson, it's only 2, so he's gonna be 9 years old. Then you're, so I'm already in the, you understand what I'm saying? So it's already gonna face the cycle in a whole other generation, which is my daughter and my grandson.
Yeah, but you can take it back further.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
it's
like that's the commandments.
So next what I'd like you to do is well, we're gonna talk about the successes, at the end, but the next phase is that I want you all to give me feedback about if you were standing in front of the board of supervisors people that design and implement the rehabilitation programs for people that are re-entering, even the ones that are in there, I think that people need to be rehabilitated while they're there. You know, I mean, more, you know, deeply than even coming out. But to get them grounded so when they walk out and the wind hit their face, it's a whole nother reality. You know, it's like you going back into another kind of womb, and then, you know, we call it woman is the aquatic state, you know, for babies. But when you come out of that system, out of that into the free world, the first week or two is a honeymoon. It's like, wow, I'm out, you know. I can go get some, you know, some McDonald's or whatever, you know, and just do what I want to do. But then all of a sudden when the parole officer or the probation officer say, okay, I need you to do this and that, I need you to do it in a certain amount of time. If you don't have it done, then you stand a chance of being sent back. You can't go here, you can't go there, you can't do this, you can't, all these different, you know, guidelines that you can't do. And it's, sometimes it begins to feel like it's inhuman for me to be able to be in that space, right? And then I got to report to you. Then in addition, I got to pay some fines or some fees or some restitution, and I don't even have a job. So all these different things that we are concerned with and challenged with. What would you say to those people that are designing the rehabilitation programs on the inside, behind the scenes, people you never see that never come in your presence? What would you want them to design for you?
I would want to have a paid stipend for a certain amount of years. Because at the end of the day, when I was incarcerated, I was working for the state and I was doing my civic duties. So whatever money that I may have could accumulate, because you know, what they charge y'all, like $1 or something, or $2 an hour or something.
I'm a violent offender. I ain't going to work.
Huh?
I'm a violent offender. I ain't going
Oh, they
to
won't
work.
put you to work with you. Okay,
Or
well,
they'll try.
whoever, I'm saying,
15,
whatever the service you pay your civil duties for whatever your actions is, still you should be compensated for whatever you're coming out to. Because ultimately there are saying they're saying that I'm not gonna help you get this, to get to this, to get to this, but I need just to qualify you, you know, to stay out of jail. So you're basically saying, so I want to need some money and a certain amount of money a month where I'm stable enough to where I can be sustainable. So it is on me.
Would it be housing first or would it be money first?
It would be how it could be the housing going. It could be going into your house. It could be either a spot or you can take the cash. You might have family that can take care of you, but you might need cash. It all depends on your situation. I might need a spot and I can find me a job at McDonald's, or I might just need the cash because I got somebody. I got my wife. Or I got whoever I'm dealing with that's gonna take care of me until I get my feet. But you gonna need either a stable house or stable money.
So it's different for everybody.
Yeah,
It's different
for everybody.
What would you design? I mean, if we were writing our own script.
I would design, like right now, the state system is designed that's the only place today where they can still have slave wages. Prisoners, that's what they are, slave wages, not a minimum wage. I would say change that salary to minimum wage job. That will give people a chance when they come home to come home with not just $200. You have some money to pay. Like a lot of people in there, my experience was hearing a lot of people come in with child support, right? Even though they're in prison, they're still obligated to pay. And it just doubled and doubled and keep rolling as long as they're in prison. When they come home, they can't even get a job because when they get a job, they don't have no money. The money goes straight to the system. You know, so I would change that. As far as the reentry programs out here, there's not no reentry programs that I was in one reentry program and it was more of a drug rehab. So I was in there with people like me coming out that want to do good, but then you also have people that has an addiction problem. And they will still, this is their addiction. Not them. They will still, like I had bought a big screen TV that came up missing, and the guy took it and sold it for them drugs. If he would have came back, he relapsed and left the program, but if he would have came back, that was putting me in a position where, you know, I'm gonna have to do something to him or it's gonna have to be resolved some type of way.
Yeah, sure.
Just taking it from me.
Right.
So, but it also was telling me, well, okay, this is not the place for you. Maybe it's time to move on, right? But I was in a position to move on. A lot of other people wasn't in a position. They have to stay there and deal with that type of stuff and fight and go back to prison and never make it out of those places.
Right.
And then I would say something as far as returning home, something that was more long-term based, like a commitment to getting a person back on track. For one, it ain't no programs. You have to have some kind of drug case or something to be involved in something like that. If you are somebody that was committing robberies, you probably was committing robberies because you was broke, but it ain't no program to kind of like help you get back to where you earning money so you don't have to go rob nobody again.
Yeah.
So, and then it's nothing like, once all these different things we talking about, one of my mentors call it the onion, and he like, once you start taking it apart, there's so many different layers to it, right? So we talking about health, education, housing, trauma, all these other different things that come into play. These all work towards the person being the best person they could be, and it has to be some kind of program that's committed to longer than a 3-month, 6-month process, but a long-term process of seeing somebody succeed and having goals set for that person that after a year, you've stayed clean for a year, or you've received your high school diploma in a year, or you've completed an apprenticeship, so now you're prepared to go take on this kind of job. Like, just steps to where when a person look up after 2 or 3 years, they can see the progress that they made, and they know that they had support to get that done, and it'll allow like a different kind of confidence to come from that person. As far as some other things, it's a lot of stuff that it ain't gonna change until stuff get changed on a policy level. Like the laws are still the laws. You know what I mean? The prison, they still building more prisons.
Right.
They still gentrifying neighborhoods.
Right.
You know what I mean? They like ain't none of that changing. The murder rate still high. You know what I mean? Like, so even if we change these set of things that we talking about, it's still this whole fight back that you gotta overcome to prevent something happening to you if you already been in jail, or for the people that's coming behind you that's gonna basically be doomed to meet that same fate if we don't change some of those things around us.
They want that money. Each person that goes to jail for life is a person.
It's more prisons
money they getting paid for the
than
rest of their
college
life.
institutions in California. So that already tell you mentally where they at with it. Like, they ain't building prisons for nothing. When I was down in Avenal, the whole city worked at the prison. So that means all these people is dependent upon you going to jail in order to keep that day machine going. So who machine are we working for?
Well, you know, in the criminal justice system, there was 4 million people enslaved in the United States from 1816 to 1865, and we have more than 4 million people that are African American that are in the criminal justice system in some form or another. Either they're on probation, they're incarcerated, or they're doing some type of time, so there's some kind of supervisory. So we have more than 4 million black people that are caught up in the criminal justice system. We had 4 million people caught up in slavery. That's what I'm trying to say. And I really like what you said about the long term. You know, 'cause I really think that it is a long term process that needs to happen. I think it needs to start in jail, maybe even 6 months prior to release. They can identify those people, right? And begin to they do what you say. Let's just really start teaching them some life skills and some social skills to start getting ready, because a lot of times they never had life skills and social skills. They learned from visual, from what they saw. I mean, I was up in Harvest Point in the projects up on this hill somewhere, and I was doing some consulting, and I went to a couple of people, a couple of individuals' homes, and some single females, and mama lived next door. And then grandma lived across on the other side.
That's what it is. That's the norm. That's
so we talking about 40 years of multi-generational curse.
And I'm sitting right next door with the bad husband, and then she got the bad boyfriend, or vice versa. My mom on the door, and she's sharing. I mean, it 3 generations
that are living in Hunters Point. I mean, so I had to take a look at that, because if I really had created the narrative, I guarantee I would find the great grandmother, mother was there too. You see, and so then you look at the children that was running around in the household. It was so disruptive and so unmanaged and so just out there, right?
The grandma 32.
Right. And they complain and say, well, we go up to the community center, to get food, and because mama is always asleep when you come home from school. Because mama been up all night, and so they begin to start learning how to take care of themselves. And then that's when the mindset of the hustle, when they see the older guys on the block, start saying, yeah, hey, this guy's getting money. I'm 12 years old. And they kind of like want me to carry some product for them, maybe even, I don't know. And they go, and sometimes they'll go and approach them and say, hey, you know, I'd like to get in this game, you know, but I ain't got nothing on the table to eat. And I'm talking to real live young brothers that are talking like this up in 100 Grade on this point right now, right? Trying to get them to turn it around and look at a different perspective. They've already failed in school, they're failing in school, they dropped out of school, all kind of stuff is going on. There's a whole magnitude of trauma that's happening in our communities, particularly with African American boys that will soon be men, that will soon be in the pipeline to this prison system that we're talking about. So, the design that each of y'all have shared, Charles, what would you design for you? If you were writing the script.
I think the whole rehabilitation process needs to be scrapped because they got that whole thing wrong. Like you said, they're not speaking to us and finding out what we need. We come home from, I'm just speaking on the coming home from jail. We come home with expectations that are very, very lofty, that are not really realistic. And, for me, it was all about money, I needed to be paid what I thought I was worth. And for me to come home to a job where I'm not getting paid what I'm used to, that was hard for me. And so it would wear down the patience. And I'm going back to my MO. I'm gonna slide right back into where I know I can get the money to provide for the lifestyle that I want. But if I could design a system, I would scrap what they're doing now, and I would try to institute some program that catches them coming in and starts to work on changing them the moment they enter, and start to identify some skill set that they could take out with them so that they could get a job. And then on the outside end, you gotta have meaningful jobs. You can't throw a dude into, you might be able to throw some people into McDonald's, but you can't throw everybody into McDonald's. I wouldn't work at McDonald's. I just wouldn't do it. And that's not to say that I'm above it, because when I came home, I worked for $10 an hour, and I was good with it because I knew what my choices were, based on my education, my work history, which is non-existent. I disciplined myself. Look, dude, you're gonna work for this $10 because if you pick up that sack, you're done. I'm a career offender, and it requires very little to
just send you away.
Send me away forever. So I don't really have an answer. I think the whole thing is washed up, and it needs to be scrapped, redesigned, and some new, fresh ideas. I don't know where they're gonna come from, but I just think the whole thing is a wash.
Well, I think they're gonna come from us because we're the ones that are most affected by this whole system. And so I think I'd like to, really frame it as just rehabilitation. We ain't trying to reform nothing. Of course, policies, as you mentioned earlier, and ordinances and rules and laws got to be changed. But this is, kind of like we can really affect that change if we come together collectively. We really have something, a narrative that's worth talking about. Everybody in this country that's conscious is talking about it. We got the Pope that went into the prison when he was here. Kissing people on the head. President Obama touring the prison. President Obama touring a drug facility up in Philadelphia. So the world is aware, and America has a big black eye from all other countries that are looking at us and looking at them overly incarcerate their people and happen to be African Americans. So we definitely, and this is the time now, this is the time for this war back against. There's a war on drugs and the war against black folks. They targeted us. Now we got a war back. Farrakhan says just as else, but unfortunately I didn't see Farrakhan up in Chicago talk about homeboy just got shot down by the cops. And I really appreciate, his initiative on the Million Man March. But I would have liked to see more Muslim brothers out there working there. Maybe they do it differently. Maybe they don't walk down the street and come together in unison, with the general population. But so we got a lot of people that are in the trenches, I guess that's what I'm saying, that are doing a lot of work, and I think that with enough, mobility that we're seeing in diversity from Black Lives Matter to all over the place, that the topic is now, it's hot. We can't let it die. We got to get out in our own individual selves and do what we can do in our own, neighborhoods, our own community, our own households. And I think that's where we are. And so, Nate, your accomplishments, so the accomplishments, I kind of want to close this out saying, like, all of y'all have accomplished a great feat. Now, we talked, two gentlemen here that are not incarcerated. I haven't heard your voice yet. Have you ever been incarcerated? You have been?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you want to say something about that experience, coming out for you, because I want to make sure I get everybody, it's a little time. Yeah.
Shit, it's the longest I ever been out. Got out of 09, and I just been working, taking every day, one day at a time.
So you've been out for 6 years?
6 years.
And how much time did you spend?
7 years on this one, on the last one. But I've been in and out since group homes.
So this started for you when you were your minor, pretty much. And that's a great accomplishment. I gotta give you honor for that.
That's definitely.
Yeah.
I got an apartment, 2 jobs, more than I ever had selling dope. You know what I'm saying? So just taking it one day at a time.
So what would you tell the supervisors that what would help you even more so? Because you seem like you're a determined young man. You're not going back. You're done. You're done. So, but what would you say for other people that and even your own experience? What do we really need, to be able to sustain ourselves and be able to do this thing the right way?
Oh man, I don't really. With me, I should have listened. When they said, ain't nothing but death and imprisonment. You know what I'm saying, in the streets. I should have listened. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah. You've seen a whole lot, right? Because particularly coming from your young teen years, you saw, already know you saw. You've seen a lot.
Yeah.
So I just, really just give honor to all of you for all the great work that you're doing. And so Nate, I want to just kind of close out with you and share. Nate basically, I don't know if you share this with everybody or people know, but he just got accepted into a really powerful program at Stanford. I think I give all heads up to Stanford because they do have a prison project going on over there to help people that are reentering society to do and follow their dreams and put that into action in the community. And Nate has been accepted by Stanford.
That's so he was accepted before I was.
Oh, you were there, so that's how you got your business started?
Nah, we started the business before I went to Project Remade, but they definitely was very influential in helping us come up with a business plan. And even now, Sarah Prizer, one of my mentors, she's working pro bono on our legal paperwork for us. So they've been a great help. And the lady who runs the program, Debbie Mukamal, she's like a surrogate mother to me, always checks in on me. I come back down there and speak from time to time, and it's just been a wonderful relationship, especially me coming out the neighborhood I came out of to go to Stanford. I was like, oh, okay. And then for them to receive me the way they received me, like, it made me feel good. So it's definitely, like, I know it's gonna do good things for you, bro.
Yeah. So Nate, how you feeling about it?
I'm feeling great. It's like everything from like they talked about Scared Straight. Y'all went to the same one. I was in that program. I used to mentor kids that came through the program, but I felt like a hypocrite because I didn't even have my GED or my high school diploma. Telling the kid, you go home, stay in school, graduate, own a business, or get a good job.
I ain't got none of that.
I ain't have nothing. One kid asked me, "Sir, do you got your high school diploma?" I said, "Yeah," but I lied.
Yeah.
I felt like a hypocrite, so I resigned out of the program. I went to school, got my GED. When I got that GED, I was able to go into vocational trades, more importantly, college. But CDC does not rehabilitate you. So once I got my GED, I was able to sign up for a correspondent college course that military people use. So, but the problem was I had to pay for books. The books ranged from 100 to 150. So 5 brothers, we would piece up on this one book and go through each subject for so many years. So I came home with a lot of credits and units and San Francisco State had a program for people coming out of prison.
Project Rebound?
Exactly. So I was in that program,
Yeah.
and like,
Let's check that out.
and like Michelle Alexander got me out of prison. So California.
So who is Michelle Alexander? So we'll know. When you say, so they'll know.
Oh.
Okay, so they don't know who she is.
Michelle Alexander wrote this book called New Jim Crow back when crack cocaine first came out. The police were racially profiling people of color. They would pull over 10 people knowing that some of them gonna have some drugs on them. But that's illegal. Michelle Alexander was head of the ACLU, I believe.
Yes.
She was a director. So there's one brother, he wasn't even selling dope. He was marking down every time this narc kept pulling him over trying to get him, he was marking the daytime.